Suffice to say, all of the major manga that I read right now have been getting crazier and crazier as time goes on. I'll be doing more reviews coming up soon about One Piece and My Hero. Right now, we're going to be focusing on Black Clover Chapter 287 titled Day of Atonement. Get into the chapter though, I do want to talk about this. I have no clue if this is a cover spread or a tankobon cover or whatever, but whatever it is, I love it. Showing Asta and Yuno at their peak right now. Because remember, last time we would have seen them side by side with their powers was during the elf invasion when they fought Licht, and they were only halfway covered in whatever abilities they had. Now they're fully covered in it and they look awesome. Just had to get that out of the way from the get-go. Either way. So starting off with chapter 287, as I said, it's titled Day of Atonement, and it continues from where the last chapter left off with Nacht saying that he was going to surpass his limits so that he can take down these two high-class demons before anyone else gets hurt by them. Nacht is sitting there impaled on the ice and flame spires by still going up against Lilith and the Ma. So in this, Nacht is just kind of thinking to himself, he's just kind of like, I don't care if I die, but I'm the one who's kind of coordinating this entire invasion, and I'm the entire reason everybody's even here right now. I wasn't supposed to die until we at least were assured to win. Because at that point, whatever happens, because we at least won and got what we needed out of the whole problem that went down. But Noctis is kind of like, I don't have the luxury of saying that anymore, considering the fact that there are two high-class devils here that I now have to deal with, while everybody else is dealing with the Dark Triad and everything else that's going on in the Spade Kingdom at the moment. Nacht is kind of thinking back to himself. He's like, the four devils that I contracted with are all mid-class devils at best. So they're not going to be able to do anything against these two upper-class devils that just appeared. And Nacht is just kind of like, I know what my limits are, and that's why. And then he just kind of goes back and remembers whenever his brother Morrigan was buried, and Nacht is just kind of crying at the grave, and Yami is standing there next to him. And Yami's just kind of like, someday I'm going to make my own squad. And he's just kind of like, yeah, I know, me a captain, crazy because of everything that I had to deal with and everything that I am in terms of where the Clover Kingdom is at the moment. But it's going to be filled with a bunch of ruffians and misfits and people who don't fit into how every other squad is made. But he's like, if and when I make this happen, I want you to be my vice captain. That way we can both get laughed at together. Nox is just kind of like, no matter what, I'll never forgive myself for what happened to my brother. Whatever happened to my family, Nox doesn't care about his family. He only cares about what happened to his brother Morgan. So he's like, I can't forgive myself for letting that happen. And I can't let myself be praised in the spotlight either. No matter what, I can't be like Morgan. I'll destroy all of the evil with my life from the shadows. So then Noct decides to get a really clever idea, if I'm being honest right now. So he talks with his two devils. He's like, Polmeet and Wagner. I'm trying my best to say these names. German is not my language at all. Either way, he's like, help me out here, please. And they're both just kind of like, of course, Master Noct. You've shown us things that we've never thought that we would be able to see. So we'll follow you no matter what. And then Noct remembers his brother saying that he has the greatest talent for magic out there. And then Noct, once again, goes, I will surpass my limits here and now. And combines his two devil union forms of Gallius and Felix into one. So he gets like, honestly, he gets like this really interesting like demon crow cat thing going on. And Lilith and Nama are looking at this, they're like, ooh, that's very interesting. And Noct is just like, we're disregarding anything that's going on. He's just kind of like, for just one moment, for one spell, I need to get my magic power up to that of a supreme level devil. And then he activates the spell. Shadow Magic, Monument of Atonement. And you just see like these two like giant like spires, well not spires, they're like slabs of like land, but they're all made out of this shadow magic. and you just see all of these hands reaching up in between them, grabbing Noct, Lilith, and Nama, and he's just kind of like, by sacrificing myself, I'll lock you two away forever, in a place where there's no concept of life or death. So come play a hellish game of tag with me for the rest of eternity. And then the monument just seals shut. Mm-hmm. And it's sealed shut for a minute, or like however long it's going to be sealed shut. Probably just a few seconds, to be honest. Then out of nowhere, where the seal was made, ice and fire just erupts out of it, and it spits out Noct, and Noct is all bloody, and both of his Devil Union forms have just run out entirely. So he's just on the ground, and he's just kind of like, this is impossible. They broke a spell, which is a realm that doesn't even exist. And he's just kind of like, their magic is insane. It burns and freezes everything that it touches. And then Lilith and Nama are activating their Devil Ice magic and their Devil Fire magic. And Noct is like, it burns away light, dark, and even invisible concepts from what it seems. And then on one side, one of them freezes Noct and the other one burns Noct. And Noct is sitting there crying out in absolute agony as they're just toying with him. And you see the mask of Polmine and Wagner on the ground, just like a black pools around them. They're probably dead, which would not be the most ideal thing, because Noct just lost 2 mid-class devils. Probably could get more, but we'll see what happens with that one. Anyway, Lilith and Amar are in absolute ecstasy watching Noct as they're slowly torturing Noct to death. And they're just going on and on about how good it is to hear the screams and the cries and the writhe of agony of a human victim that they haven't been able to hear in a very, very long time. And they're like, this is excellent. This is an amazing feeling of ecstasy that we never got to experience prior to this. And Noct is just kind of thinking to himself, he's like, this entire time they were playing with me as I was fighting as hard as I could. And they're like, we can't take it anymore. We're going to kill him now. And as they're enjoying his screams, Noct is still thinking to himself, there is no human that can beat a supreme devil. And then one of them reaches for Noct's neck and it's kind of like, your final and your finest scream. Then out of just absolutely nowhere, Asta shows up, sword in hand and all, and then proceeds to just slice off one of their arms with very minimal effort on his part. He didn't have Yami's katana, he had the Demon Slayer sword. Point is, slices off one of their arms, and they're like, it's severed, what just happened? And then Asta's sitting there in front of him, and he's just kind of like, hey, what do you think you're doing to my vice captain? Or our vice captain, because he was referring to the whole of the Black Bulls. And Noct is just kind of like, if anything can deal with any of the Supreme Devils, it is anti-magic. And that is the end of the chapter, with Asta standing toe-to-toe with Lilith and Nama, Devil Union form active, and he is ready to do some damage. Question being on how Asta even got there, possibly Finral teleported him there, but that wouldn't make much sense because Finral has never been to the Spade Kingdom Palace where this fight is taking place. Wait, this isn't even... Wait, is this taking place in the palace? Yes, it is. Because Noct got sent outwards, outside of the place. Okay, that makes more sense. So, it's either whenever they teleported there, Asta must have just immediately sensed that Noct was in danger, and then immediately went into Devil Union and just went straight to where Noct was. We'll have to... I'm pretty sure that Asta is going to maybe not mop the floor with Lilith and Nama, but he's going to do pretty decently against both of them. Like, they're not going to be too much of a challenge for Asta at this point because of the fact that his anti-magic is so incredibly powerful and overpowered, honestly. It really is. I'm thinking that the whole anti-monozone theory that people have had for Asta to have, it might semi be a thing, because we know that he can erase the effects of magic within a set space even without using the Demon Slayer, not the Demon Slayer sword, the Demon Ruin sword. Even without using that, he can negate the effects of magic within a set space. So this might net him. This will definitely net him an advantage over Lilith and Nama, because one, they're not going to be able to. They're not going to be expecting anything of that's happening with Asta and his powers. And for two, if they can't use their magic, they're kind of just sitting ducks waiting to get their heads cut off, essentially. Either way, this war arc is just continuously getting more and more intense and interesting as time is going on. Who knows what's going to happen when the second level of the Qliphoth opens up? Who knows what's going to happen when Asta has his rematch against Dante and Lucifer? Because now that him and Liber are on good terms and they understand things, I don't know if Liber told Asta that he was Leechita's child. He might have, but I don't believe that conversation was had yet, but it's definitely going to be had. In any case, Black Clover continues to hold its place firmly among the big three, whatever the big three are at the moment. I know for a fact that a couple of years ago it was Black Clover, Demon Slayer, and My Hero Academia, but since Demon Slayer ended, Black Clover and My Hero are still going. I don't know what else jumped into the rank of big three, but Black Clover is definitely holding its place among it. I can't wait to see when the next chapter comes out. We apparently don't have a break next week, so it's just going to get right into the action. And I hope that this next chapter goes more in depth into the full capabilities of Asta's Devil Union form. Because we don't really understand every aspect of it just yet. So I want to see whatever it has to offer. And I'm curious to see where this is going to go. Well, that's the end of the video. Hope you guys like what you're seeing here. Catch y'all later.